Today I'm going to demonstrate and explain the process of finding algebraic rules based on patterns. What are patterns? Patterns are things that are arranged by following a rule or a set of rules. So looking at patterns in a table, here we can see that we have a set of information set up in a table format. We also see that we have visual diagrams as well that go along with our set of data to help us understand the patterns found here even better. So we have arithmetic patterns that are found by adding the common ratio found in the data. So the common ratio we see here is 3. So for each day, we're adding 3 more raindrops to the amount we found the day before. In geometric patterns, here, instead of adding, we're multiplying the common ratio found. And here, we see that the common ratio is 3, so each day we multiply 3 more sets of raindrops to the number of raindrops we found the day before. Okay, so now we're going to look at here. And here, we see visual diagrams that go along with the corresponding table of data. And we can see automatically that our table is not full. We have some missing spots here. We don't know how many number of sticks go along with these steps. So that's what we're going to figure out today. Alright, so let's look at the pattern that we see so far. Alright, so looking at the table, we see our data. Step 1, we have 4 sticks. Step 2, we have 7. Step 3, we have 10. So let's look at our visual diagrams to go along with that. We see that step 1 has 4 sticks. Step 2 has 7 sticks. Step 3 has 10 sticks. Okay, now we're going to see what we notice here. Well, I notice that here we start out with 1 stick and we add 3 more. Step 2, we have our 1 stick and we added 2 more sets of 3. Step 3, we have our 1 stick and 3 groups of 3. So, by using that information, we can go ahead and start working on building our algebraic rule based on this pattern so that we can find out any number of steps that we may have. Alright, so let's go ahead and try out this algebraic rule. How do we write this? Well, we know that for every step we have 1 stick always, and then however many steps we have, we add that many number of groups of 3 each time. So we always start with 1 and we add on 1 group of 3 here. Here we start with 1 and we add 2 groups of 3. So groups of means to multiply, so we know that we're going to put x for the number of steps so that we can change the number every time. So x groups of 3, that's what we're going to have, and then we're always going to be adding that 1 that we started with. So to write this easier, we're going to say 3x plus 1, or x groups of 3 plus 1, because we always have that 1 stick that we start out with, and then depending on our step number, we have that many groups of 3 each time. So let's go ahead and test this algebraic rule with the information that we already know to see if this rule will work. So step 1, we're going to input the 1 here because x is the step number that we're on. So we have 3 times 1 plus 1 gives us 3 times 1 is 3 plus 1 equals 4. So step 1 gives us 4 sticks, and we can check that and see that it's correct. So now we're going to go ahead and check for step 2 and step 3 since we have the data for that we can go ahead and check. Okay, so 3 times 2 plus 1 gives us 6 plus 1, which is 7. And yep, that's what we got. And 3 times 3 plus 1 is 10. Yep, so we checked those patterns into our equation and we got them correct every time, so we know that our algebraic rule is 3x times 1. Now, looking at this table, we can also see that each time we add 3 more, 3 more. So, if we're going for the step number right after, we know that we can add 3 more. Okay, so here we can go ahead and add 3 more. And 10 plus 3 is 13. 13 plus 3 gives us 16. 16 plus 3 gives us 19. 19 plus 3 gives us 22. Alright, now let's look at the next box that we have to fill out. Oh, 20 does not come after 7, so we know that we cannot add 3 to 22 to figure out how many sticks for this set. Alright, and when we're trying to find this type of information out where it's not back to back and we can't just add 3 every time, this is where our algebraic rule comes into play. So now we can look at our rule, 3x plus 1, and now we're going to input 20 as our x to figure out how many sticks will occur from this problem. So now we're going to do 3 times 20 plus 1, because that's what our rule was, 3x plus 1, and the x here is 20. So 3 times 20 is 60, plus 1 gives us 61. So now we can input our information for this one, which is 61. Awesome. Now, looking at our table, we see that it's full and complete. We looked at our table of information, we used our visual diagrams to investigate the pattern further, and then we came up with an algebraic rule, tested that rule with the given information that we started with, and then we also used our algebraic rule to find the nth term, or a term that was, in the future. It wasn't back to back after these. So there you go. That's how you find an algebraic rule, by using help from your visual diagrams and investigating the patterns and coming up with an algebraic rule.